All right, time now for Guarantee of the Game presented by AT&T. Guys, in college football, there's one thing that you can guarantee every season, and that is that a coach's hot seat will continue to heat up. And, for Clemson and Dabo Swinney, whether it's unmet expectations, disappointing starts, coaches across the country are feeling the pressure. Dabo, although likely not going anywhere, as he certainly made clear throughout his press conference early in the week, his Tigers are out to a 1-3 start, his worst during his tenure. Guys, I think it's easy to point to the transfer portal as a culprit for this, but that's the easy way out. We don't take the easy way out here on the College Football Show. Let's focus on this year. We can talk about philosophies and should he use the portal, should he not? Focus on this year and this iteration of this Clemson team. If you could put your finger on it, what's wrong with the Clemson Tigers this year, Matty?
Oh, you guys go to me first, huh? Okay. Now, It is tough to pinpoint, right? Because you look at the team on paper and you're like, man, this is one of the most talented teams on paper, right?
Yeah.
They got a skill group that's fantastic. Hey, running back was questionable. I think Adam Randall's done a really good job. Offensive line play has been just okay at times in this. The defense is loaded with talent on every single level. We're going to see a lot of these guys drafted on Sunday. But there's no attitude. There's no swagger. That's the biggest thing. There seems to be no team chemistry to this football team. So I just feel like the talent's there. Whatever Dabo is saying behind the scenes in these team meeting rooms, it seems to be falling on deaf ears. Because each and every game, it seems like they're being out-coached, out-executed, and really just out-hustled. And that's something that we're not used to seeing with the Dabo Swinney coach football team.
How do you change it, though? If the message isn't getting across, what do you do at that point?
You saw Fran Brown, the other day running the team, doing sprints and all that. Just like, so it takes a different, way to kind of invigorate your football team, to wake them up from the slumber that they have fallen in. But for right now, just the offense. 500 yards total offense.
That should do it.
But it's like the most unimpressive 500 yards you can see because it's so clunky, it's so sporadic. There's nothing consistent, or the offense doesn't have like a choreographed rhythm to it. It's just like, hey, let's run this play, let's run that play. And it's unfortunate because Cade Klubnik, I think he's a really good football player. I think the skill group is fantastic. Antonio Williams got back out there. Brian Wesco, we see how dynamic he is with the football in his hands. And yet, for whatever reason, we just can't seem to place play after play and build off of that rhythm as an offense to really make it meaningful. A touchdown the first, second, and fourth. It's not good enough for the Clemson offense, how talented they are.
Not at all. And I just think there needs to be a higher level of accountability from everybody
no doubt.
on the team, because when you look at it, the coaching staff is getting out-coached. The players are getting outplayed, and they're getting out-disciplined. When you look at what they did, they repeatedly hurt themselves in the first half with 2 roughing the quarterback calls. Cade Klubnik is making bad throws, throwing interceptions. He's had 5 straight games where he's thrown an interception now. That's one of the longest streaks that Clemson has had. The last time it happened was with Deshaun Watson way back in the day when he just went through a rough little stretch. But what I see right now is a team on paper, as Matt just mentioned, that has the most returning players in the country. You have players that have a lot of experience. You have a coach who has won repeatedly, and you're still losing games that you should win. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't add up. And when you fall into those situations, it's just the whole vibe of the team. Things are falling on deaf ears. People aren't playing hard enough, and the coaching needs to be better. And I'm going to point towards Garrett Riley. I'm going to point towards their new defensive coordinator, Tom Allen, as well, because they're clearly not putting the players in the best position to succeed.
And where does the buck stop? Right? Where does it ultimately stop? With Dabo Swinney, right? So, as good as a coach as he is and as successful as they've been, of course, we just heard the resume. It's damn impressive. There's no doubt about that.
I don't question that he cares deeply about this team. He has dedicated so much of his life to this program.
And I think that's why we're frustrated as fans. I think that's why the other experts at ESPN, we're all kind of saying the same thing, and why we're having such a tough time pinpointing it. Because I think even Dabo, when he's in the press, he looks tired already. We're only a few weeks into the season, and he looks like he can't sleep.
Listen,
because it's just so stressful what's going on.
I've been there. I remember my senior year. I'm not even lying to y'all, where we were just losing games. And we would work hard, we would practice hard, we would do everything that we could. We saw the coaches coming in every single day. It was hard, and we couldn't pinpoint the exact thing. But when I look back on it now, it was really just a leadership locker room problem. Because none of us were really together the way that we should have been together. Yes, they've had a lot of returning players, but sometimes when you're with somebody for so long, you're kind of sick of them.
I find that hard to believe, though, because it's like Cade Klubnik with his experience, TJ Parker, I mean, just like, Woods, I mean, they got all of these players that have been there for such an extended period of time, and to let their team, I feel like, just fall flat. The lack of energy that they play with is, to me, like, I feel like the biggest concern. Like, you watch Miami play, you don't get that feeling whatsoever. No. Like, you see the strain, you see the hustle, you see the swagger that they play with, that swagger is back there. You just don't see that with Clemson football right now, and I feel like they're not putting their players in a position to be successful. Too many times where defensively, I feel like you can tell exactly what they're doing pre-snap and post-snap, and that's just not good enough today in modern football.
No, and you're not alone. A lot of people had this team preseason number one. A lot of people looked at them on paper and saw, 3 potential first-round picks on the line. They saw a veteran quarterback. They saw explosive wide receivers, and it has not gelled yet. It has not worked. And
you know what? Hey, Brent Key a week ago, outcoached him. Same thing here. Fran Brown, outcoached him again,
credit,
right? So we got to give credit to Syracuse, right? Just showing up, doing their job. Steve Angeli, season-ending injury. But, man, they played their tails off
And
today.
just a shout-out to the chat. Captain Spartan, he said, the problem is that they've just plateaued. We see everybody in the YouTube chat. I'm seeing your comments. Continue to join the conversation.
Maybe it's just that simple. I mean, maybe it is.
Maybe,
all right, so Dabo isn't the only kind of must-watch press conference for this week.
Ooh.
UCLA, Virginia Tech, they've already made moves at the top. There's a couple of Power 4 coaches feeling the heat right now. Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy, 0-3 on the season. He already took a pay cut before this year started. Sam Pittman in Arkansas, like we just saw, might have the offense, but losing to Memphis doesn't help much. Guys, which one of these coaches is under the most pressure to turn things around this year?
I mean, regardless, Mike Gundy's gone. Like, let's be real. He had to take the pay cut, as we have seen coming into the season. And for them to lose again, I mean, this team has stopped playing. They don't play hard. They don't look like they're really in the game, like EA Sports, if one would say. But then the next coach that I would look at there is Bill Napier. Man, it seems like everyone wants his head off. A couple of coaching decisions and play calls in tonight's game against Miami that was just really questionable. And let's not even talk about the fact that they only had 32 yards and 1 first down in the first half against Miami. It was a tough watch for that offense, which he is responsible for.
It has to be Billy Napier. It really does. Mike Gundy, I think that thing has just run its course. He's been there a long time. He's been extremely successful. I think it's just a refresher, restart for the whole program and for him himself. For Billy Napier in Florida, you're just too good, honestly, to perform the way that you've been. Now, the schedule, unfortunately, for them is not going to get any easier. And that's why I feel like for us, like, we can kind of see a little bit out in front. Billy Napier struggled to keep his job a year ago, where we haven't seen the progression of DJ Lagway in this offense. The inability to rely on one of the best offensive lines in the SEC and just to run the football. I mean, that's where I'm just like, I look at Jacoby Jackson and Jaden Ball, and I'm just like, why can't we feed these guys the football more?
You're not the only one asking that question.
And protect DJ Lagway. And then, you got a great skill group around him, too. So it's a little frustrating. Hey, they got their 3rd sack of the season tonight against one of the best offensive lines in college football in the Miami Hurricanes. But you're Florida. 3 sacks on the year? That's just not good enough football. And for Billy Napier, it's got to be something dramatic has to change very quickly for him to be able to save
It feels like every single year we're having this conversation about Billy Napier and this team essentially just not performing to the level that we expected them to. The defense stepped up in this game. They were down 13-0, and they stuck in it and gave DJ Lagway in Florida an opportunity to come back in this game. But ultimately, you just ended up being outcoached, and you ended up being outplayed.
He's a good recruiter. I think he's a good head coach. He knows talent when he sees it. Don't really like him as the offensive coordinator. And I think that's really the one thing that he has to kind of check is be like, is he the right guy to keep calling plays for them, or should he switch it up and take a back seat and start managing the team that way?
You want this, you got that. No way.